Hey everyone, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. I've got another stamping video for you. If you're a beginner and you want to know like the basics of stamping, I'll link the videos down below where I talk about that. Today we are going to look at how to load your stamp with acrylic paint and a brayer. You can do it without the brayer. I'm going to show you that as well. And then we're going to talk about how to use large unmounted stamps. Okay, all right, so let's get going. I'm going to take Payne's Grey acrylic paint because I am going to watercolor over this. I'm working in my Dina Wakley large art journal, so it's a mixed media paper. First going to show you how to do it with a brayer, and then I'm going to talk about tricks that you can do if you don't have a brayer. All right, previous brayer got stuck. Okay, so when you load a brayer, you've got your paint on your paint palette. This is an acrylic palette and can be any palette that you that you can work with. You can also work on a craft mat. The brayer is just, you get rubber brayers and get hard rubber brayers and soft rubber brayers. This is a soft rubber brayer. Okay, so when you load the brayer, you're just gonna go over the product. So you put down, roll, lift up, put down, roll, lift up. You're just basically making sure that you are getting paint all over the brayer, and then you're going to brayer that on top of your stamp. Okay, so you need to work very quickly and not paint on your page, but that's fine. There's only so much I can fit into the camera, so just work separate from your page when you load your stamp. And now, because this is quite a large unmounted stamp, I need to be careful how I put this down. So I'm going to bend it, make sure I get where I want to put it, put that part down, and now you can't move it, okay, because then you'll get smudging. And then I'm going to go with my hands and I'm gently going to wipe over this just to get all the paint transferred. Make sure I go over all the raised areas. And then when you pick it up, you're going to start at one end and you're going to roll it off. And then this needs to go in the water straight away. So I'm going to run off and clean this and I'll be back. Okay, so here my stamp is completely clean, so I've gone and washed that. If you've got a lot of stamping to do and you don't want to walk out of your craft room, you can have a tub of water next to you and you chuck that in there so that it can soak. And then I've just used an old toothbrush and just brushed in between all the nooks and crannies and made sure there's no acrylic paint left behind. Acrylic paint, when dry, is essentially a layer of plastic, and you don't want that sticking to your stamp. You're going to prevent the stamp from eventually like stamping the very fine detail. Okay, so what I'm going to do now I'm going to use parts and pieces of the stamp to actually add more leaves on the side. Now I'm going to show you how to load a stamp if you don't have the brayer. Okay, so it can be done. I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to put the brayer one side. Let's move this a slight bit. I still got paint here and I've got them on the I've got it on the palette, and I'm going to use a credit card or an old loyalty card or anything like that, and I'm going to scrape the paint so that there is a thin layer of paint on the palette. Okay, so there's a very thin layer of paint on the palette. Don't know if you can see that. Okay, and if you think you've scraped off too much paint, you just start again and just make sure that you have a thin layer of paint on the palette. Then you're going to take either the entire stamp, depending what you are stamping. I'm just now going to stamp some of these leaves, and you're going to press that. So you're basically stamping into the acrylic paint. Okay, so there you can see I've actually stamped into the acrylic paint, and now I can go and stamp that down. My clip is in the way. Okay, so I've got another piece there. I'm just quickly going to wipe this on my desk. If you have a wet wipe handy, I don't. You can clean your stamp that way. I also want to use this piece here, so I'm just going to stamp that. And then just with my finger, I'm cleaning off the bits I don't want. And I'm adding more leaves up there. We might need to put something on that tip of that leaf, so stamp that and wipe that. Okay, so that's how you can either use parts and pieces of a stamp to add, or you can load a stamp with acrylic paint. And I've also showed you how to work with very large unmounted stamps. So here's my stamp. I cleaned it off again. It was fairly easy to get it off, even though I was working a little bit with some of the paint on the stamp. I think that depends on the type of product that the stamp is made out of. This is a photopolymer stamp, and it cleaned fairly easily, but don't leave this lying with acrylic paint on it. Always go and wash your stamps after working with acrylic paint. So this is my finished design, and I'm going to watercolor over that, and I'll post a picture soon. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like these type of videos, and I'll see you in the next video.